On 27th May 2020, a pregnant elephant died by consuming pineapples filled with crackers, which is a heartless activity of humans. Among us, many asked justice for the elephant and trended the whole issue. But in future, what if our children dies due to cancer because of the poor environment created by the improper industrialization policies? Making things even worse, what happens if we are not allowed to raise questions against those industries which likely killed our children? This is what gonna happen if we allow the current EIA Draft 2020 to pass on. Hello nerd friends, we are gonna see the effects of EIA Draft 2020 over our environment and humanity. And in this video, we are not going to address the political side of this issue. If you want to learn more about the political side of this issue, then check out the description. You can find some quality content. Environment is a surrounding or a condition in which a person or animal or plant survive and operates. We all know that we share this planet with millions of other species. Let it be animals or birds, they all combine to make this environment. We may have technologies and advancement, but all those things are taken from our environment. Environment plays an important role over everything we have, and every other species have equal share and right to use the resources of this environment. But we depend over the environment much more than any other species. Especially many human communities are still solely dependent on the fate of the environment. Communities like Adivasis, forest tribes, fishermen are mainly dependent on the state of their surroundings. Even though we are much more dependent over the environment, we still destroy them without understanding that we are also a part of it. EIA Environment Impact Assessment is a process defined under the Environmental Protection Act 1986, which prevent industries and infrastructure projects from being approved without proper oversight. This process ensures that every project should go through the EIA process for obtaining prior environmental clearance. But the problem with this new draft was the law that need to protect environment is failing to protect. And this may cause serious set of issues to human and other species. To understand about this issue, we approached a writer and a socially activist, Ms. Revati Shaktivel, to help us understand how detrimental this draft could be.
At these times when everyone is concerned about the environmental changes and their carbon footprints, our Environmental Impact Assessment Notification of 2006 is going through further amendments. Normally when there is an amendment, we as citizens of this country expect something good to come out of it, don't we? Yeah, right? Yeah. But this EIA amendment, by the looks of it, is going to be very detrimental to our environment in the future. Now, in this 2020 amendment, many industries, including the pharma-based industries, the chemical industries, the paper industries, they are going to be pushed to the B2 category.
Basically, industries in B2 norm will not have high set of validation process. Before in this act, many industries which had very less or no impact over environment are allowed. But now, that's not the scenario.
Normally, if a project is to be established, the organization performs the EIA and submits the report to the committee. This committee approves or rejects the project on the basis of the results of this report. But this amendment will let the organization to be granted with post facto clearance against the payment of penalty. So post facto clearance is basically like starting your project without proper approvals and then paying the penalty later to obtain the approval. You may ask, what is so big about the post facto clearance, and they are getting the clearance anyways. Imagine a company polluting your environment and then getting the clearance after paying penalty. To be more specific, the recent case of blast in the LG polymer plant in Vizag is an example. It was found that the plant was running for nearly 2 decades without clearances. Now you'd know the importance of these clearances.
So this act will allow industries to destroy our resources like natural water bodies, pollute the fresh air and more for a penalty.
Here comes the major issue of this draft, the abandonment of public trust doctrine. So public trust doctrine is basically where the people can raise their voices if and when they find any kind of environmental exploitations. But this amendment states that in case of any violation of any provision, Only the organization concerned or the government officials has the right to report it. Now, general public here is being denied the authority to report any kind of violation. But the question here is, will we ever report our own violation? Never, right? No one from the company is going to report a negative statement about their own company. Now, killing of public opinion for the B2 category companies is going to cause a very serious environmental issues.
Because this draft brings many pharma-based companies, chemical industries, paper manufacturing industries, leather industries into B2 category. These industries produce lot of chemical waste like heavy metals, sulfur, sodium hydroxide, sodium sulfate, nitrous oxide, methane and much more. And all these things are let into the environment and polluting it. A paper published on energy from toxic organic waste for heat and power generation states among 4,000 staffs in a paper industry, 400 or 10% of them get cancer every year, and people who get exposed to these waste are more likely to get affected with ovarian cancer, skin issues and more. The smoke from these kind of industries are causing serious health issues like lung cancer, asthma and many more forms of cancer. The worst part is our natural water bodies like rivers, lakes are also get polluted by the waste generated from these industries, which can cause cancer to infants, fetus and newborn babies. A survey from Cancer Institute from India states in past 10 years, number of children getting cancer and genetic issues have been risen to an alarming stage. And cancer alone kills more than 70 lakhs people per year. In that, 14 lakhs of them are children.
Previously, companies were required to perform checks twice a year and submit a compliance report to the committee. But this amendment is reducing it to once a year. When there is no external push from the government, how can we rely on the company to ensure by themselves that their techniques are not being detrimental to the environment? Obviously, no one is going to do that. After all, during these recent times, we have seen numerous cases of boiler plant blasts, gas leakages, etc. when there was an actual strictly followed regime.
Cancers are not the only issue caused by destroying environment. Global warming, sea level rising, unpredictable seasons are going to make life much more difficult, not only for humans, but for all the other living things.
Another thing to note here is, none of the people who are against this amendment is against EIA. Every single person accepts how important EIA is to our environment. We all need EIA, yes, but we need an EIA without these controversial provisions. We need an EIA which gives people the right to speech, and we need EIA which doesn't destroy the environment.
Definitely we need them, but not at the cost of destroying environment or eradicating poor humans and living things. Economical growth is very essential, but what happens if we destroy our planet for the sake of economy? If Indian government offer this much of liberty in the law, then it will kill many living species which are equally dependent on this environment. We humans have to understand one thing clearly. We are dependent on the environment, not the environment is dependent on us. So if we destroy the nature and make human race as the superpower, then we will never fall under the mercy of nature. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you wish to raise your concern about EIA Draft 2020, then click the first link in the description and mail your suggestions. If you like this video, then share, subscribe to Nerd Biology and turn on notifications. You can also find all the data regarding EIA Draft 2020 in the description below. Check them if you want to learn more. So stay together and let's save nature. Thank you.